forefront? Is that still in the cards? Or will the players' ego not allow them to agree to this deal? Is a 50-50 rev share split the hill that they want to die on? Are they saying, you know what? You can give us whatever offer you want to give us. We're not going to accept anyway. Because if they don't accept this deal, what more can the owners give up?
The WNBA just dropped a bombshell offer that should have ended negotiations on the spot. Maximum contracts soaring to over $1.1 million. The minimum asterisk salary jumping from a measly $78,000 to an incredible $220,000. The average player salary would hit nearly $500,000. And yet, the Players Association leadership is hesitating. They might actually walk away from a deal that represents a nearly 400% pay raise for top players. This isn't just a negotiation anymore. Something else is going on.
NBA's current CBA proposal includes a max salary of more than $1.1 million. We heard reports of $1 million. We heard reports of $850,000. And now we're hearing $1.1 million, the biggest number yet. I don't know what they're paying these ladies in Unrivaled, but that seems more than competitive. Much more than
Let's put this into perspective. The current maximum salary is just $241,000 a year. This new proposal doesn't just bump that up. It launches it into an entirely different stratosphere. It includes the one thing players have been demanding for years, real, actual revenue sharing that grows as the league grows. This isn't the league making small concessions. This is the league pushing all its chips to the center of the table and saying, here. Here is everything you asked for and more without bankrupting the entire sport. So why isn't this an instant yes?
Maybe Project B is putting some pressure on the WNBA. Like, you know what? We got to offer $1 million contracts. You know what? We got to give them $1 million contracts. We at least want to retain some of these ladies. If anything, Project B is the alternative after the WNBA season. That's what they're thinking. If anything, Project B is the alternative after the WNBA season. They're not going to go to the Euro League. They're not going to go play in Australia. They're going to go play in Project B. Get your $1 million here. Get your $1 million over there in Project B. Unrivaled seems, I don't have their finances, but this can very well price Unrivaled out of the market.
Because there's a complication nobody wants to talk about publicly. A massive conflict of interest hiding in plain sight. The three people leading the negotiations for the players have direct financial stakes in leagues that asterisk compete with the WNBA. Nneka Ogwumike, the president of the Players Association, has already taken money from a new league called Project B, and Brina Stewart and Nafisa Collier, the vice presidents, are the co-founders of Unrivaled, a competing 3-on-3 league. The very people tasked with securing the best deal for WNBA players are also owners of its rivals.
You're not negotiating for yourself. You're negotiating for the other 170 plus ladies in the league. You're negotiating for the Juju Watkins coming in. You want Juju Watkins to come in and not have an American professional league to go to? That seems very selfish. You want Sarah Strong to come in and not have a professional league to go to? You want Hannah Doggo to come in and not have a professional league to go to? You want Malaysia Fawawi to come in and not have a professional league to go to? You want AZ Foot to come in and not have a professional league to go to? You want to make them dance with one arm behind their back like a circus clown in Unrivaled? You want to have them make a moral choice whether they want to go to Project B?
Think about what that means. For Unrivaled and Project B to succeed, the WNBA cannot asterisk become too lucrative. A WNBA max salary of $1.1 million, plus all the endorsement deals that come with being in the world's premier league, completely changes the game. Suddenly, Unrivaled isn't the place you go to make your real money. It becomes a fun off-season side hustle. Project B stops being a legitimate alternative and becomes a novelty league. This incredible offer for the players is a direct threat to the personal business interests of their own negotiators.
You are taking money out of their mouth. You're not doing them a favor. You're doing them a disfavor. Let's get right into it. WNBA latest CBA proposal would put max salary over $1.1 million with revenue sharing, AP source says. Let's get into it. The WNBA's latest collective bargaining proposal would include revenue sharing with a maximum salary of more than $1.1 million.
Now think about this from the perspective of the players who aren't asterisk on the executive board. Think about Dijon Carrington, who just had a breakout season. Think about the rookies fighting for roster spots. These women don't have ownership stakes in competing leagues. They don't have massive endorsement portfolios. Their entire career, their entire financial future is tied to the WNBA. They desperately need this deal to pass, but their own leaders might sacrifice it to protect their side businesses.
Are you looking out for Michaela Timpsons of the world? The Damaris Dantises of the world? The Julie Alamans of the world? The De'Erica Hambys, the Azurá Stevens? Are you looking out for them? Or are you guys only looking out for your little fan club, the executive board of the Players Association? You guys only looking out for your little selves? Are you guys looking out for, I don't know, a Rebecca Allen, a Marina Mabrey, an Ari McDonald? People familiar with the WNBA's latest proposal described the plan to the AP as a highly lucrative package providing substantial...
And it gets worse. The next golden generation of stars is right around the corner. Juju Watkins, Paige Buchers, Hannah Hidalgo. Their entire professional futures are being held hostage by these negotiations. If the 2026 season gets canceled because a deal can't be reached, what do? Do they lose a full year of their prime waiting for the WNBA to sort itself out? Or do they sign with these alternative leagues, fragmenting the talent pool and potentially killing the WNBA's momentum forever?
Big salaries. I'm telling you right now, if I'm Caitlin Clark, if I'm Asia Wilson, I am calling these ladies. I don't know if Caitlin Clark's going to do that, but if I'm Asia Wilson, I'm calling Nafisa Collier, Breanna Stewart, Nneka Ogwumike, and I'm putting my foot up their ass. Seriously. Guys, my dream is not to play in fucking Project B. My dream is not to play it unrivaled. I'm putting my foot up their fucking ass. If I'm Asia, I'm swallowing my pride and I'm calling Sabrina. I'm swallowing my pride and I'm calling Caitlin. We gotta be on a unified front. The three of us gotta be on a unified front. And we gotta go head to head with those three and let them know we're not taking part in this bullshit that you guys are taking part in. We don't want to do Project B.
This offer isn't just a generous proposal from the WNBA. It's a strategic masterstroke. It's a declaration of war against its competitors. By offering salaries that Unrivaled and Project B likely can't match, the league is making it financially impossible for players to leave. It's telling its superstars, we will pay you so much that leaving for a startup league would be insane. The WNBA is trying to financially assassinate its rivals and secure its talent for the foreseeable future.
I don't want to put too much pressure on Asia Wilson, but I get that vibe from her that she'll be at least, that she might not rally Sabrina and Caitlin, but she'll at least call Stewie and Fee and Nneka Ogwumike with her braggadocious self and be like, hey, the fuck are you guys doing over here? And if I'm Caitlin Clark, you want to stay in the dark, you kind of want to keep your image smooth, no problem with that. But you better get word to Aaron Kane, who's also Nafisa Collier.
But what if the player leadership rejects it? What if their personal conflicts of interest lead them to tank the deal? The superstars, the Aja Wilsons, the Sabrina Ionescus, the Caitlin Clarks, they'll be fine. They'll get massive checks from Unrivaled or international teams. But the league itself, the entire infrastructure that took 28 years to build, could collapse. The TV deals on ESPN and ABC, the corporate sponsorships, the sold-out arenas, all of it evaporates if there's no 2026 season. And the people who get hurt the most are the role players, the rookies, and the veterans just trying to secure a pension. The very people the executive board is supposed to be protecting. This is the moment of truth. The league has met the players' demands with an offer that is, by any objective measure, transformational. It provides life-changing money for every single player on a roster. If the leadership rejects this, they have to explain why, and not with vague statements about being valued. They need to explain how turning down a 400% raise benefits the average player. Because from the outside, it looks like a catastrophic betrayal is about to unfold. The question for Nneka Ogwumike, Breanna Stewart, and Nafisa Collier is simple. Are you negotiating for the 144 players in the WNBA, or are you negotiating for yourselves? Because right now, you can't do both. Let's dissect the potential justification from the Players Association leadership, because they won't come out and say, "We're rejecting this to protect our side businesses." No, the argument will be framed in the lofty language of empowerment and long-term vision. They'll talk about wanting more than just a paycheck. They'll use terms like equity, partnership, and control over their own destiny. They might argue that this massive salary offer is a form of golden handcuffs, a way for the league to buy loyalty and prevent players from building their own platforms, like Unrivaled. They could even claim that tying their entire financial future to the WNBA's revenue-sharing model is too risky, and that diversifying the professional women's basketball landscape is actually asterisk good for players in the long run by creating more jobs and more leverage. It's a sophisticated, almost plausible argument on the surface, designed to make them look like forward-thinking visionaries rather than self-interested entrepreneurs. But let's apply even a tiny bit of scrutiny to that potential argument and it completely disintegrates. They want equity. The deal on the table includes a groundbreaking, uncapped revenue-sharing model. For the first time, players would be true partners in the league's financial success. When a new media deal is signed, when ticket sales go up, when merchandise flies off the shelves, the player's salary cap goes up with it. That is asterisk equity. They want control. What is more controlling than a guaranteed seven-figure salary that allows you to buy a house, invest for your future, and support your family without having to fly to Turkey or Russia for 9 months a year? This deal gives the players control over their lives, their bodies, and their careers in a way they've never had before. The argument that this deal prevents them from building their own platforms is patently absurd. A superstar making over $1 million in the WNBA, with the marketing power of ESPN behind her, is in a stronger position to launch a podcast, a clothing line, or even a side hustle 3-on league than she is now. The golden handcuffs argument is a smokescreen, a desperate attempt to frame a phenomenally good deal as a trap, because the alternative is admitting their own glaring conflict of interest. And we haven't even touched on the other components of this proposed CBA, which make the leadership's hesitation even more baffling. Sources suggest the deal includes the complete, unequivocal end of commercial flights. Every team, every trip would be on a charter plane. That's not just a luxury, it's a fundamental change in player health, safety, and performance. No more 65 athletes folding themselves into a middle seat for a cross-country flight before a playoff game. The proposal also reportedly includes a revolutionary overhaul of the players' retirement and benefits package. We're talking about a 200% match on their $401k contributions up to a certain percentage of their salary. We're talking about a lifetime health insurance plan for any player with at least 7 years of service in the league. Think about that. Play for 7 years, and you have health coverage for the rest of your life. For athletes who put their bodies on the line every single night, that is arguably more valuable than the salary itself. This isn't just a pay raise, it's a comprehensive take care of you for life package. To even hesitate on this is to ignore the physical and financial well-being of every single player in the union. So we have to ask the logical question, why is the league making such an unprecedented, almost unbelievably generous offer right now? The answer is simple, the Caitlin Clark effect. The WNBA is experiencing a cultural and financial tsunami. Ratings are up over 200% on some networks. Arenas are selling out. Merchandise is setting records. The league's front office, led by Kathy Engelbert, understands that this is their one-in-a-generation moment. This isn't just a bubble, it's a launch pad. They have a window of perhaps 24 to 36 months to capitalize on this explosion of interest and cement the WNBA as a permanent Major League fixture in the American sports landscape. A messy, public, and protracted labor dispute that leads to a strike or lockout in 2026 would be the single most effective way to kill that momentum dead. It would be an act of catastrophic self-sabotage. This offer is the league's way of buying labor peace. They are willing to overpay now, to give the players everything they've ever asked for in order to secure the future of the entire enterprise. It's an aggressive, brilliant business move to ensure the rocket ship doesn't blow up on the launch pad. This situation has haunting echoes of the most disastrous labor dispute in modern sports history, the 1994 Major League Baseball strike. MLB was soaring in popularity, but the players and owners, driven by greed and mistrust, canceled the World Series. It took the league nearly a decade to recover the goodwill it lost with its fanbase, but the WNBA's position is infinitely more precarious. In 1994, baseball was the national pastime, woven into the fabric of American life for over a century. The WNBA is a 28-year-old league that is just now, for the first time, breaking into the mainstream cultural conversation. It doesn't have a century of fan loyalty to fall back on. A work stoppage in 2026 wouldn't just be a setback, it would be a potential death knell. The casual fans who just tuned in to watch Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Cameron Brink will simply move on. The television networks might activate opt-out clauses in their contracts. The corporate sponsors would flee. The player leadership isn't just negotiating a contract. They are playing with fire, standing over a powder keg with a lit match, and the future of their entire sport is at stake. What's most frustrating is the silence from the rank-and-file players, the very women who have the most to gain from this deal and the most to lose from a work stoppage. Where are the veterans on minimum contracts who would see their salaries triple overnight? Where are the mid-career players whose bodies are breaking down, who desperately need the charter flights and the post-career health care? Their silence is, in a way, understandable. The power dynamics within a players' union are incredibly complex. Publicly speaking out against your union president and vice presidents, who happen to be legends of the game like Nneka Ogwumike and Breena Stewart, is a career-altering risk. You risk being labeled as a troublemaker, as someone who isn't a team player. You risk alienating the very superstars you share a locker room with. It's a classic case of diffused responsibility, where everyone is hoping someone else will be the first to stick their neck out. But with each passing day of silence, the leadership's position becomes more entrenched, and the possibility of this transformational deal slipping through their fingers becomes more real. This vacuum of public dissent from the players puts an even greater responsibility on the other power brokers in this ecosystem, the agents and the media. Player agents have a fiduciary duty to do what's best for their clients financially. It is impossible to believe that powerful agents like Lindsay Kagawa-Colas or Allison Gaylor are advising their clients that rejecting a 400% pay increase is a good idea. Privately, they must be screaming for the players to take this deal. Yet publicly there is silence. They don't want to damage their relationships with the union leadership, which could harm their ability to negotiate for their clients in the future. The sports media, meanwhile, has largely failed to connect the dots on this story. They report on the negotiations in the traditional labor vs management framework, missing the unprecedented conflict of interest that lies at the heart of the entire story. They are failing to ask the hard questions, perhaps out of a desire to appear supportive of the players' union in its fight for better pay, ironically ignoring that the union leadership may be the single biggest obstacle to that pay. So what is the end game here? There are three possible paths forward. The first and most optimistic is a palace coup. A coalition of respected veterans and outspoken young stars could band together, either publicly or privately, and force the leadership to put the deal to a full membership vote, bypassing the executive committee. They could make it clear that the players will not allow their financial futures to be held hostage. The second path is a slow, agonizing compromise. The leadership rejects this initial offer, not for legitimate reasons, but to save face and demonstrate their toughness. They then spend months negotiating a slightly different deal, one that likely pays the players less but includes some cosmetic win that allows Ogwumike, Stewart, and Collier to claim they secured a better deal, all while their own rival leagues have more time to establish themselves. The players would still get a raise, but they would have left millions on the table to protect the egos and business interests of a select few. The third path is the apocalypse scenario. The leadership officially rejects the offer, negotiations break down completely, and the owners, feeling their generous offer was rebuffed in bad faith, initiate a lockout for the 2026 season. Every single player loses a year of their career and a year's salary. The league's new media rights deal, projected to be worth over $200 million per year, evaporates. ESPN replaces WNBA games with cornhole tournaments. Fans vanish. And what happens then? Unrivaled and Project B suddenly become the only game in town. The very people who scuttled the WNBA deal would position themselves as the saviors of women's professional basketball, absorbing the talent from the league they just allowed to collapse. It would be the most cynical, predatory, and destructive maneuver in the history of sports labor, a multi-year chess move that ends with the checkmating of the very players they were elected to represent. The choice before the 144 players of the WNBA is becoming clearer by the day. This is no longer about labor versus management. It's about their own futures versus the conflicting ambitions of their leaders.